channel.
And as always, guys, if you guys enjoy our content, you know what you guys can do. You can share, you can like, or you can subscribe to our channel. When you guys subscribe to our channel, you know what you do. You guys are building our empire and allowing us to provide you guys with even much more greater content for you guys to enjoy. Welcome, everyone, to a random segment we like to call Fans Ask. Where people from the down in the comment section ask us particular questions, and we figured, hey, we would answer them. We figured we tried this one to see how it feels, and if it plays out well, maybe we'll start answering questions of particular variety in our down in our comment section below. But here we go. Let's start with this first one. Someone had asked me this. Boom. Okay. They asked me what it'd be like to have like Carnage and Deathstroke hybrid together. Okay. I thought that was pretty interesting, so I figured, yeah, we could do an episode about it. Why not? So Deathstroke and Carnage as a hybrid would be one of the most unstoppable characters in the DC and Marvel realm. And here's why. For starters, there would be no mercy. Carnage is a savage. I mean, he's bloodthirsty, so it would be a non-stop gruesome murdering scenes in every direction. And with Deathstroke, obviously Deathstroke doesn't mind getting his hands dirty, so together they would just go into a slaughterhouse situation and just take everyone out. Now, I would say for sure, as the argument's sake, one of the arguments I'll say is that yes, they would take out the Teen Titans without breaking a sweat. I mean, Deathstroke himself is already difficult for Teen Titans to face on his own. To have Carnage as his suit of armor and his weaponry, yeah, it would be a game over. He would take them out little by little. It wouldn't even be that much work. It would really just be wipe them out of existence without breaking a sweat. Now, another thing is that you can also make the argument that Carnage in some universes has done some other things where he's used like certain, it's kind of gruesome, but it's kind of like Carnage maggots, where he would use and to infect other people, and then he would use them to become Carnages, and then he would like control them. He could probably do the same thing to the Teen Titans and use them as like puppets as an army, so he can throw down with whoever. Deathstroke would be strategically about that life. Now, 90% of being able to use your brain functionality says a lot. Having that inside an armor suit that's way stronger than his original suit says a lot too. Why do I say that? Because obviously his suit was already pretty damn strong to take on, but combine it with Carnage's durable suit, it'd be unstoppable. And the 90% brain functionality comes in handy because Deathstroke would probably be more control behind the wheel than Carnage. Usually symbiotes are a little more on the wheel sometimes, but with Deathstroke, it'd probably most likely be his call because he's more brain functionality control. So I do believe he would be able to tame Carnage to make him do whatever he wants at whim, and it would benefit both of them better, considering the fact that with Deathstroke behind the wheel, his reaction time is way more faster than Carnage's. Even though Carnage is pretty damn fast, with Deathstroke behind the wheel, he could switch weaponry in a fast moment in time. So during a fight against any particular character, they could switch from blades to several arms to all kinds of things. He can turn into a rope, he can turn into spikes, he can turn into a sword, he could turn into an axe. There's so many levels where Deathstroke will be able to react a lot faster, given that he has full control of Carnage's symbiote abilities, and be able to master it and take a lot of characters down that way. Now, here's the interesting part. Deathstroke, I believe, with a lot of prep time, considering now that he has Carnage's power in him as a suit, I think with both of them together, they could take out probably DC and Marvel's roster. Now, you might think that's ridiculous, but in another story arc, Batman, the Bat Who Laughs, was able to take out the entire DC universe. And yes, the Bat Who Laughs was impressively strong, but he was still not like, he can't teleport. He was an average guy still. He was on peak level, but he wasn't superpower. He was mind, and his mind was capable of going to the point where he fought Medusa. Okay, so sorry, not Medusa. Damn, I forgot her name. You guys leave it down in the comment section below. You guys know who I'm talking about. But he fought the multiverse mother. Okay, and fighting the multiverse mother says a lot, especially if he gets to that level and he was just a regular bad guy, then turns into a super cosmic level threat. That's saying something, okay? So you could say the same thing with Carnage and Deathstroke. No, he's not going to turn into a cosmic level threat, but he could if he wanted to, because Deathstroke is smart and he's like right there with Batman, so he could think that far ahead of time and be like, look, I got Carnage's powers now, I could really do some damage. Now with Carnage's powers, he can use it for defense and offense, along with preparing with a lot of traps and preparing with his mind doing research on all the other characters, learning weaknesses and stuff like that he can use to his advantage. And nobody could really be able to stop him completely because he'll always have Carnage as in his blood. I mean, if Cletus Cassidy can turn Carnage back or bring Carnage back with just a drop of blood, I do believe the same thing could be applied to Deathstroke in that way. Now, another thing I can add on is the fact that Deathstroke would get his eye back. Carnage is able to regenerate limbs. Deathstroke's not able to do that. Once he loses something, he loses something. But with Carnage in his corner, that won't be the case. He'll be able to bring that eye back. Deathstroke with his second eye back, yeah, game over, guys. Game over. 2 eyes, Carnage's powers, game over. No question about it. Example of how Deathstroke would be able to wield Carnage the right way is when he was capable of having the God Killer sword, and that sword you had to have like a full functional brain in order to really wield it and be able to use it the way you need to, and Deathstroke was able to master that. I do believe he could do the same thing applied to that with Carnage. Now, Batman and Spider-Man are usually the nemesis of Deathstroke, or Robin, or whoever. You could say Robin, but Batman, let's say it's the top tier character, Robin and Deathstroke, right? I mean, Batman and Deathstroke, and Spider-Man and Carnage. If you put Spider-Man and Batman separately to go against them, it's game over. Together, maybe they have a fighting chance to figure it out, but let's say this was last minute and they didn't have the prep time to go against Deathstroke and Carnage. Like, they didn't get a chance to talk about, hey, yo, I know what this character does. Yo, I know what this character does. Oh, I know what his weakness is. I know what his weakness is. Maybe we could work with that. No. If they were like last minute jumped and they just met each other and they had to fight against them, no chance. Deathstroke and Carnage will pull them out for the count. Batman he's one of my favorite characters. But a character like that with the 90% brain functionality along with the power of Carnage, keep in mind, Carnage is capable of lifting buildings. He can expand his tentacles to like long ranges, wrap itself around a building and lift it. So I do believe he could probably just choke out Batman at some point. I mean, Batman is strong, but eventually there's not enough weapons in his arsenal. If Deathstroke takes the belt away, takes everything off of Batman, and Batman has to fight for it, might be a game over in there. And Spider-Man is strong. He's got a spider sense. He might be able to hold on. He might be able to hold on for a while. He's got the immense strength, but he's also had some difficulty against Brock, and Brock was Venom. Against Venom, he had difficulty. Against Carnage and a guy who is super smart and a strategical tactician, and he's also tactical. Yeah, no. Eventually, Spider-Man is gonna get taken overwhelmed by that too. Those two would eventually be put down for the count against the combined forces of, I want to say, Deathcarnage. And the last final point I will make about Deathcarnage, I guess I'll call him that, the hybrid of the two, is that Carnage got ambitious one day. He took out, Venom, and then he was like a multiverse level threat. I don't remember exactly how it went in the comics, but eventually he goes into another multiverse and faces, I think he defeats the first Null there, and then takes Venom out there, and then he goes to another multiverse and fights another Null, and he throws down with that Null so he can claim his power, so he can be strong enough to face like the ultimate Venom or something like that. So I don't remember exactly the name of that Carnage, but that Carnage at that level is very powerful. So if Deathstroke is very smart. He's the type that might be able to, with knowing that he has what he has on him, like, yo, this weapon that can get powerful and more stronger, I can strategically move 10 steps ahead and use it to get bigger and powerful as I keep going on. Eventually, he could become that Carnage where he takes out the big symbiotes, the ones that like Null and Venom. With Carnage and Deathstroke together, he might be able to take on Null, considering the fact that having that brain might be able to come in handy. Now, granted, Null is very old and he's also very smart himself, but let's say if Carnage did do the first thing he did in the first thing before he moves into another multiverse, I do believe with Carnage and Deathstroke they might be able to do it faster, because Deathstroke would probably think ahead of how he would be able to eliminate what weaknesses he can find before he faces on Null. And at that point, I do believe the combination of these two would be, again, unstoppable. These two together with prep time could take out the entire roster of Marvel and DC characters. I know that sounds crazy, but with Deathstroke behind the wheel, being able to learn mystical powers, mystical books and stuff, and with Carnage being his weapon and his arsenal, and also infinitely smart in his own right, these two would be able for sure to put everyone down for the count or at least put half the roster down before they could put them down. Some really top tier characters, let's keep that in mind. And yeah, I'm gonna say that's pretty much all I can really say about the Deathcarnage hybrid. I mean, these two would just have incredible power, and they would work well together. The weapons, the arsenal of weapons that Deathstroke would be able to come up with a lot faster and be able to react faster in reaction time would give Carnage more advantage. Carnage being able to provide an extra, or provide limbs back, or regenerate certain limbs or eyeballs back into Deathstroke's eye socket does also come in handy. Deathstroke behind the wheel being able to control Carnage to help them achieve their ultimate goal is a true element of a deadly force you don't want to mess with. And as always, No Purse fam, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.